Hello viewers, welcome back to class. This is the continuation class. Now we have come to a very session where we start solving simultaneous linear equation with the help of substitution method as we have on the board. So we want to start using substitution method to start looking at pairs of simultaneous equations with two unknowns. Now guys, if you are new in this channel, do consider subscribing to this YouTube channel and ensure that you turn on the post notification bell so that anytime we upload my brain content, you will be notified. Don't forget, one of our policy here is that you must not skip any part of this video for maximum understanding, so that you will not skip an aspect where you really need vital information that would have helped you understand the concept of substitution method. So please do not skip any part of this video for your own benefit and ensure that you avoid every unnecessary distraction. Pay close attention so that you're able to maximize everything that will be availing here as we teach. And also don't forget to like this correct video, share this video, and make your necessary comment. Now guys, let's get started. Now, how do we use substitution method to solve pairs of simultaneous equations, either with two unknown or with three unknown? But now we are limited to two unknowns, right? Now, how do you use substitution method to solve two unknowns for any simultaneous equation? Now, listen carefully. At first, you will be given two equations, which is exactly what we have here now. Question number one. You must be given two equations to solve for two unknowns in simultaneous equation. So we call this pair of simultaneous equation. Are you there? Now, also, from these two unknowns that you are given, listen carefully. These are the principles that you need here. All right? Now, listen. For these two equations that you are given, now we have two unknowns, x and y. It can be a and b, it can be any of the alphabetical letters, or either it can be any of the alphabetical letters. But here, we are limited to x and y for this question. Now listen carefully. So first, you must be given two equations. So the first one, you will label it equation 1. Then the next one, the second one, you will label it as equation 2. Then, from equation 1 or equation 2, any of the two given equations, you make another equation for yourself. And this equation you are to make is called equation 3, is to be labeled as equation 3. Get it clear? Now, it is a matter of choice to now make equation 3 from either equation 1 or equation 2. But sometimes we advise that you make equation 1, you make equation 3, from any of the simple given equation. So for any two equations that you are given, one must be the simplest. So it is always easier for you to make equation 3 from the easiest equation that you are given. And to make equation 3, all you need to do is to make one of the unknown the subject of formula. So now if I look at equation 1 here, and I look at equation 2, I discover that the coefficient of x here is 1. The coefficient of x here is 2. So it is easier to make the one that have a coefficient of 1 the subject of formula anytime you are using substitution method. It makes it easier, you're solving easier. Like I said, now you can decide to make s the subject of formula. Now listen carefully, anytime you make s subject of formula, it means you want to find y first. Understand that we are solving these two pairs of simultaneous equations simultaneously to obtain the value of x and y. Anyone you obtain first, you will not be penalized. You can choose to find x first or find y first. So if I make s the subject of formula as my equation 3, that means I am ready to obtain the value of y first. Now if I now decide to make y the subject of formula as my equation 3, it means I have decided to find x first. Are we there? But this is the easiest way to have this done. All you need to do, examine your two given equations and see the one of the unknown that have the least coefficient or 1 as its coefficient. So the one that have 1 as its coefficient is easier to make that the subject of formula than any other. So now let's go. In this equation, we have our solution. And now we have equation 1 as this 2y is equal to 4. On your own, you can turn this as equation 1. Alright? Then secondly, we have 2x plus 5y is equal to 17. We call this equation 2. So at this point now, we are using substitution method. So I need to make equation 3 from any of these two equations. And to make equation 3, you need to make one of these unknown the subject of formula. And I just made it clear now, it is easier to make an unknown with a coefficient of 1, the subject of formula, than to make an unknown with a coefficient greater than 1, a subject of formula. So in this case now, for me as a person, I will prefer to make equation 3 from equation 1 because x here has a coefficient of 1. So I will just make s the subject of formula. Like I said, anyone you make the subject of formula, you are going to have the same result. Whether you decide to make s subject of formula from equation 2 or s the subject of formula from equation 1, you are going to have the same result. Or you now decide to say, okay, let me make y the subject of formula from equation 1 or from equation 2. You will equally have the same result. Any choice you make, you will have the same result. But it is easier to make an unknown with a coefficient of 1 the subject of formula. This is why I am hammering on this. So in my own choice now, I will now say, okay, make s the subject of formula from equation 1. So all I need to do now first is to put down my equation 1. This is equation 1. So to make s the subject of formula, it means that only s should be left to the left hand side. Every other thing should be taken to the right hand side. Have only s at the left hand side with a coefficient of 1. Hope you see that. So to make s the formula, it means that you should allow only s to be the unknown or the only term at the left hand side, while every other term in that equation should be taken to the right hand side. So therefore, if I need only s to be at the left hand side, if this is my left hand side, I will take minus 2y to the right hand side. And when I do this, I'm going to have s is equal to. Now understand that for when minus 2y crosses from the left hand side to the right hand side, it automatically becomes plus 2y. Now the coefficient of s is 1, so I don't need to divide both sides by anything. I will call this equation 3. It's as simple as this. Now, if for instance any other person choose to make s, so your formula from here, after you have successfully taken plus 5y to the left hand side, you need to divide both sides by 2. And at that point, you are going to have your subject of formula in terms of fraction. Hope you see that. Yes, because the interest is to ensure that the variable you are making the subject of formula has a coefficient of 1. So that means anytime it has a coefficient greater than 1, you must divide both sides by that coefficient so that you can reduce the coefficient to 1. Now, if this is understood, now that you have successfully made equation 3 from equation 1, you will now substitute equation 3 into equation 2 that you have not touched. Hope that is taken. We have already used equation 1. Equation 1 is already used. We use equation 1 to get equation 3. Now we are going to put equation 3 into equation 2 that have not been used. So if for instance I made s the subject of formula from equation 2, now I will now substitute my equation 3 into equation 1, which is the one that I have not used. Are you there? So in this case now, we made equation 3 from equation 1. Hence, we are going to substitute equation 3 into equation 2, no longer equation 1, because equation 1 has already been used. So now we will substitute equation 3. So all you just need to look at is to say substitute equation 3 into equation 2. It's as simple as that. We have already used equation 1. Now we want to use equation 3. So we are putting equation 3 into equation 2. So guys, it's as simple as this. Then what do we do? We will now come to our equation 2. Anywhere we see x, we will replace. Now, first you can decide to state the equation 2 first. This is equation 2 plus 5y is equal to 17. I am taking my time to make it lengthy this way so that you can understand. There are ways to make it short. We are going to make videos on how to use substitution method as a shortcut. Alright? Yes, shortcut with substitution method. We are going to look at that in another video. But in this case now, I am going to go in detail. Yes, I mean in detail, so that next time you can teach others. So the essence why we come out to teach you is that after you have learned from us, you will also become a boss to lecture others. Alright, so we don't want to cut some things. So that when we explain all of these things perfectly, you will also be able to explain it to your what? To your student as well. So we are teaching you not just to be our student, to remain as our student, but also to go out and become fishers of men. That is the reason why we are called the master builders. Now let's go. Now at this point, I need to now replace x with everything I have at the left hand, at the right hand side of equation 3. You see that this is the value of x, the assumed value of x. So anywhere I see x in equation 2, I will replace it with this value at the right hand side of equation 3. So I'm going to have 2 open bracket. Now what is x, guys? X is 4 plus 2y. Close the bracket, then plus 5y. Then equal to what? 17. Once you substitute the equation 3 to equation 2, all you now have is linear equation where you have one unknown. So from there you can make y the cellular formula where you obtain the value of y. You finally obtain the value of y. Now guys, let's go. So at this point, this is equation with brackets, right? Yes. So all we need to do now. So you see that after we have substituted for x, we now have equation with brackets. So we need to clear up the bracket by multiplying the terms inside the bracket by this multiplication factor 2. So 2 times 4, we have 8. Now 2 times 2y, we have 4y. Then plus 5y is equal to 17. Now this will have given us 8 plus 4y plus 5y will give us what? 9y is equal to what? 17. Now, don't forget that this is linear equation. So what do we do here? All we simply need to do is to collect like term. Now, get it clear. If you are not good with linear equation, please go to our dashboard. Go to our video session where you can find everything that have to do with linear equation. Alright? So all we are doing here now is to make y the cellular formula, because that's what we are looking for. So to make y the cellular formula now, the first thing we need to do is to collect like terms by taking all the constant term to the right hand side. And now in this equation, 17 is a constant term and 8 also is a constant term. So we need to take 8 to the right hand side. Collect like terms. Now this will have given us what? 9y is equal to 17 minus 8. As plus 8 crosses, it becomes minus 8. At this point, this will have given us 9y is equal to 17 minus 8 will give us 9. Now at this point, we cannot leave our answer here because we are looking for just y. So now that we are looking for y, the value of y must have a coefficient of 1. So how do we make y have a coefficient of 1 here? All we simply need to do here is to divide both sides by the coefficient of y. Therefore, we have that y is equal to 9 divided by 9. And this will have given us 1. It's as simple as that. Then the next thing we do is to what? Find x. Now to find the value of x. To find x, use equation 3. That is the easiest equation because that is where you already have s, the study of formula. So anytime you are using substitution method to find the second unknown, haven't obtained the first unknown, use equation 3. Alright? Now from equation 3, we know that x is equal to 4 plus 2y. Guys, hope this is taken. Then x would have been what? 4 plus 2 times y. Guys, what is the value of y? Y is 1. So this would have given us x is equal to what? 4. 2 multiplied by 1 is 2. And 4 plus 2 is 6. Therefore, the value of this pair of equation is equal to s is equal to 6 and y is equal to 1. This is the answer to this simultaneous equation. So you see how simple it is. Now we are quickly going to solve example 2 and example 3 all in one. See you guys in that question. Now on the board, we have example 2. We are asked to solve 3x plus 2y is equal to 10. Then equation 2, we have x plus 2y is equal to 2. So all we need to do is to put down our solution. Then put down the equation. 3x plus 2y is equal to 10. We will call this one equation 1. Then this will have given us x plus 2y is equal to 2. Then we will call this equation 2. Next is to make equation 3 from any of the two given equations. So, as a matter of choice, you can decide to make x square formula, you can decide to make y square formula from any. But like I explained earlier, anytime you have any of your known with one coefficient, it is easier to make your equation 3 from that equation. So me in this equation, I will prefer to make equation 3 from equation 2. Why? Because here the coefficient of x is 1. So now that the coefficient of x is 1, I can easily make s the square formula here without dividing both sides by the coefficient of x. But I know if I am to make s square formula from here, at the end I will have to divide both sides by 3. But I don't want that, which is also possible for you to do. But let's go with this. So here now, we'll now make s the subject formula from equation 2. Now, in this case, I put down my x plus 2y is equal to 2. So to make s a formula, it means only s should be the term at the left hand side. So I will have to take plus 2y to the right hand side. And when plus 2y crosses, it becomes minus 2y. This would have given us equation 3. Now that I deduce equation 3 from equation 2, the only equation I have not touched now at all is equation 1. Then I need to substitute equation 3 into equation 1, not equation 2, because equation 2 has already been used. Is that clear? Alright, now, so I will simply say substitute equation 3 into equation 1. So guys, what is equation 1? Equation 1 is 3x plus 2y is equal to 10. Then we put down 3. Everything about x should be replaced with what we have at the right hand side of equation 3, because if s is equal to this value, then anywhere you see s, put 2 minus 2y. And that is exactly so. In equation 1 now, this is 3x. So I'm going to put down 3 there. Open a bracket. What are the values of x? The values of x are this minus 2y. Then plus 2y is equal to 10. Guys, it's as simple as this. At this point now, you see that we have equation with brackets. And how do we solve equation with bracket? All we simply do is to remove the bracket. So to remove the bracket, now we are going to quickly use this multiplication factor to multiply all the terms inside the bracket. So 3 times 2 will give us 6. Now 3 times minus 2y will give us minus 6y. Then plus this 2y is equal to 10. It's as simple as this. Then the next thing we are quickly going to do is these two terms are common. That's right? Yes. All we need to do is to have minus 6 plus 2y would have given us minus 4y. Then this gives us 6 minus 4y is equal to this. What the next thing we are going to do here? The next option here is to collect like terms. Alright? Yes. So you simply put it as collect like terms. So to collect like terms now, we understand that this constant, this is a constant term, and 10 also is a constant term. So we take all the constant terms to the right hand side. Therefore, we are going to move plus 6 to the right hand side, and we have this as minus 4y is equal to 10 minus 6. Because as plus 6 crosses from left to right, it automatically becomes minus 6. Then finally, we have 4y is equal to what? 4. The next thing we are quickly going to do is that we cannot leave our answer like this because the coefficient of y must be 1 before we end this solving. So what must we do to make the coefficient of s to be 1? We simply need to divide both sides by minus 4. So I don't need to put the statement here, but you know what I mean. So we simply have y is equal to 4 over minus 4. Or in another way, you can simply say divide the right hand side by the coefficient of y. That's it. Then finally, what would have given us now? Understand that this one at the numerator is plus 4. So plus divided by minus is minus, and 4 divided by 4 is 1. So that means the answer to y is minus 1. The next thing we do is to find x. So to find x, use equation 3. Like I explained, anytime you are using substitution method, always use equation 3 to find the second unknown once you obtain the first unknown. So now what is equation 3? Equation 3 is where we made s solve the formula. This is giving us 2 minus 2y. And this is x is equal to 2 minus 2 times. Guys, what was the value of y? Y is minus 1. So put down minus 1 here. Then this is x is equal to 2. Now minus 2 times minus 1 will give us plus 2. Therefore, x is equal to 2 plus 2. We have 4. Therefore, x is equal to 4 and y is equal to minus 1. These are the results to this question. Now, how do I really know I am correct? Now, to check or to validate whether you are correct, when after getting the value of x and y, after obtaining the value for x and y, all you need to do is to pick one of the equations and impute these values. Now, let's test run this with equation 2. So in equation 2, we have x plus 2y is equal to 2. Is that correct? So that is to say, when we simplify the left-hand side, we are expected to have 2. Now let's work on the left-hand side and see whether it will turn out to be 2. The value of x is positive 4 plus minus 2 times. The value of y is minus 1. Now at the left-hand side, this becomes 4 plus 2 times minus 1 will give us minus 2. And when I remove 2 from 4, we have 2. So that means left-hand side is equal to 2, right-hand side is equal to 2. You are correct. It's as simple as that. So if we also test run that with the other equation, we are still going to have the same result. So if the right-hand side is 10 and we substitute the value of x and y at the left-hand side, we are equally going to have 10. If you do not have it that way, that means the values to obtain are wrong. Now let's check again with the first equation. Now equation 3 we have equation 1 we have 3x plus 2y is equal to 10. So let's substitute here and see whether what we have here will turn out to be 10 as we have at the right hand side. Now we have this as 3 times 4 plus 2 times minus 1. This is it. Now s is 4. So 3 multiplied by 4, we have 12. And 2 multiplied by minus 1, we have minus 2. Now 12 minus 2 will give us 10, which is equal to 10 at the right hand side. That is to say, this answer that we obtained is very, very correct. So to know whether you are correct anytime you have successfully obtained the value for the two unknowns, just substitute the values into any of the equations. You must not check it for the two equations. You can check for just one. Once it is valid for one, it will also be valid for the second one. So see you guys in question number 3. So now guys, we have question number 3 on the board. Now we are asked to solve 5m plus 4n equal to 22 and 3m plus 5n equal to 21. This is solution. Then we are going to put down the equations again. Plus 4n is equal to 22, where we will call this equation 1. Then this is 3m plus 5n is equal to 21. Then we'll call this equation 2. Now the next thing we are quickly going to do is to make equation 3. And we know that to make equation 3, we will decide on the unknown that we are going to make the Sawyer formula. Of course, from the first two problems we solved, we always make the first letter the study of formula, which happens to be x. But in this case now we have m and n. Alright? So we can make anyone the study of formula. But I explained in the previous examples that you need to go with the one that have a coefficient of 1. But in this case now, there is none of these variables that have 1 as its coefficient. So that means you can go with anyone. Are we there? You can go with anyone. So let me, in this case now, I want to make n the solid of formula, which happens to be what? The second term. All the first problem we saw, we were making the first term the solid of formula. But in this case, I want to make the second term the solid of formula. Anyone you make the solid of formula, you have the same result. So all I need to do now is to say make n the subject of formula from equation 1. We are going to be making n the subject of formula here. So all I need to do is to first of all put down the equation 1 which is this guy, plus 4n is equal to 22. And now, guys, don't forget, we want to make n the sort of formula. That means we will be taking 5n from the left hand side to the right hand side. Automatically, we are going to have this as 4n is equal to 22. Now, as plus 5n crosses, it becomes minus 5n. Alright? Yes. Now, don't forget that for us to make n the sort of formula, the coefficient of n must be 1. That is to say, we need to divide both sides by 4 to be able to have that obtained. Are we there? Yes. So, all I need to do now is to divide both sides by 4, and hence I'm going to have n is equal to 22 minus 5n all over 4, which we can simply put as 1 over 4 into 22 minus 5n. Alright? So we will call this one equation 3. So you see the complexity of what we have here now. Why I said you always go for the one with the least. But here now we don't have a choice. But for others, anytime you have that choice of going for the one with a coefficient of 1, it is better. Here now we have a fraction. Alright? You see how complex it is. Now let's go. The next thing we are going to do, how to obtain equation 3 from equation 1. We now need to put equation 3 into equation 2 that has not been used, because equation 1 has been used. Are we there? So we have used equation 1 to get equation 3. Now we need to substitute equation 3 into equation 2 that have not been used at all. Then when we put down, first thing we do here is to put down the equation 2, which is 5n is equal to 21. So I have 3n plus 5. Now I want to substitute for what? N. Don't forget that we are substituting for n. This is 5 times n. So what was the value of n? We come back to equation 3 and replace n there with everything that we have at the right hand side of equation 3. Are we there? So this will have given us 22 minus 5n over 4. Just let's prefer to put it this way now. Then equal to 21. So you see the fraction that we have here. So we now have equation with brackets and fraction. You see now? Now let's go. What do we do here? We need to first of all multiply out the numerator by 5, because this is like over 1. Alright? Then that's over 1. So the multiplication factor will have become 5. I have 3n. 5 times 22, guys. You can use your calculation to have that done. You can use anything to have that done. But 5 times 22 is 110. Hope that is taken. Yes. 110. So how you can do it this way? 5. So you have 0. This time this is 11. You can have it this way. Alright? Now let's go. So it's 110. Then we have plus 110. Then minus 5 times 5 will give us 25m. All over 4 is equal to 21. So guys, all we need to do now is that since we have this to be equation with fraction, what do we do to clear up the fraction? I can decide to put this in this fractional form and also put this in this fractional form. So when I look at the denominator now, the denominator there is 4. That shows that the LCM of 1, 4, and 1 is 4. So all I need to do now to clear up the denominator is to multiply this equation here by 4. Are we there? So we now simply say multiply. Multiply all through by 4. Now listen carefully. When you multiply 3n by 4, you will have 12n. Plus, when you multiply this whole fraction by 4 will cancel this 4, so you'll be left with only the numerator, minus 25n. And when you multiply the right hand side, which is 21 by 4, guys, you will have 84. Hope this is clear. Yes. Multiply all through by 4. So you multiply each 10 by 4. So when I multiply this by 4, I have 12. When I multiply this whole fraction by 4, this 4 cancel out this 4. So what I have left is just the numerator, and that's exactly what we have there. Then you also multiply the right hand side by 4. And when we multiply 21 by 4, guys, we have 84. Hope this is taken. Now let's see. So at this point now, 12m and 25m belongs to the same family. So I can simply say 12m minus 25m is equal to 84. Now don't forget that 110, which is 110, 110 is a constant. So when I take this constant from the left hand side to the right hand side, the sign will change to negative 110. So this becomes minus 1, 110. When we remove 25m from 12m, guys, this would have given us 30m. And when we remove 110 from 84, guys, this would have given us minus 26. Don't forget that anytime you remove a larger number from a smaller number, the outcome is always negative. Is that correct? Now, the next thing we quickly do is that we are looking for m. We want to find the value of m, and we must ensure that the coefficient of m is 1. So what do we do here? All we simply do is to divide both sides by the coefficient of m, which is minus 13. So I simply have that m is equal to minus 26 divided by what? The coefficient of m, minus 13. Therefore, m is equal to now minus divided by minus is plus. Now 26 divided by 13 is 2. Therefore, the value of m is 2. All we need to do now is to find the value of m. Now we come here and to find m, use equation 3. Don't forget we are using substitution. So for substitution, I advise that you always make use of what? Equation 3, because there you already made m, or the variable you are about to obtain, the subject of formula. So here now when we come here, we have that m is equal to 22 minus 5m over 4. Now m becomes 22. Now guys, what's the value of m? We just said that m is 2. So we are going to have this as minus 5 times 2 all over 4. Then n becomes 22. Now 5 times 2 or 5 multiplied by 2 would have given us 10. So we have 22 minus 10 over 4. Then n becomes 22 minus 10, we have 12 over 4. And 12 divided by 4, we have 3. Therefore, n is equal to 2 and n is equal to what? 3. This is the answer to this pair of equation. So also understand that anytime you are solving simultaneous equation by substitutional method, you must ensure that you look out for the easiest way to make equation 3 the subject of formula. Practically for an unknown with a coefficient of 1 is suitable and is better. But in the case you don't have any, then you can go ahead with the other and make anyone the subject of formula. Thanks guys. I hope this content is helpful. Please do consider subscribing to this YouTube channel if you have not done so, and ensure that you turn on the post notification button for more exciting videos. Guys, don't forget to like this video, share these videos to both your friends and your enemies. Don't forget also to make your necessary comment at the comment section. We are there to serve you. To follow us on all our social platforms so that you can learn things that we may not be uploading here on our YouTube channel, but in other of our social media platforms. You can check the description below where you will see the links to all our pages. Love you guys. Thanks for watching, and as well you will see the link to the next video in that particular description. See you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Master Builders.